I want to bring in a guy, a really smart guy, and he follows this stuff like crazy. Mark Penn is a political consultant. He joins us from Washington. When you saw the examiner's report on Mueller possibly sanitizing those two phones from Strzok and Page, who we know were anti-Trump, and we know were hired by Mueller to investigate Trump, what'd you think?
Well, this is one report that I haven't really seen confirmed because I think there's been conflicting reports that it was wiped or that it was a technological problem and that it's back. I don't put a huge amount of stock into this. I tend to think what's going on with Flynn, with Cohn, with the dossier, particularly what's been continually uncovered about the dossier and Comey, that seems to me to be where the real big questions are emerging and where Horowitz is going to have should have some dynamite stuff.
All right, but, Strzok and Page, now that the public knows how anti-Trump they were, and the public knows that they were in high positions, at least for a little while in Mueller, but a lot in Hillary Clinton's investigation. If the Washington Examiner is correct, and I said that big if, all right, and somebody in Mueller's team did mishandle those phones, that's the end of Mueller's credibility. I'm sorry, Mark.
That's I don't know where Mueller got any credit. I mean, look, the minute
you have to assume
Mueller hired all of the people that he did hire, the president and his lawyers should have known that this was a group of people who had already concluded that the president was guilty, and the question was how we get him out of office.
I agree. But the public, the American public, this is just a poll out today from Hill TV, all right, is Mueller's investigation unbiased? 58% say yes. 58% of Americans think Robert Mueller is unbiased and doing a great job. Now, if the Justice Department comes out and said no, whatever he's going to come out with is tainted, doesn't that destroy Mueller?
Well, look, I think this would be a damaging revelation for Mueller but there's such a big if. And remember, we have seen the most devastating text messages you can imagine already from Page and Strzok. What else could they have said worse than the insurance policy ones? I mean, we got that story.
But still, Mueller, it then puts Mueller into the crew that doesn't want Americans to know what really happened. I'm not saying Mueller did it, but if his guys did it, I just think it goes through the roof. But it won't be reported. It'll never lead CBS News.
I follow a lot of these stories, and I got into this because really the Page-Strzok text messages lent such credibility to the fact that there was a conspiracy within the FBI and Justice Department. Once you read those texts, I mean,
there's no doubt
about
it. It's pretty obvious that they wanted to damage him.
I wouldn't put a lot of stock in this story per se because there's no motive here for them to do that because the bad stuff's already out about Page and Strzok.
I'm gonna disagree.
They've never been.
I'm going to disagree slightly with you. I'm going to say that there is a motive here because if there were even worse things, we'll see. Now let's go forward. Let's advance the story. There's no doubt in my mind, and I believe you feel the same way, that once the Democrats take control of the House and the various people like Adam Schiff are put in charge of committees, that President Trump is going to be barraged every day with new accusations. I believe part of the reason the stock market is getting hammered so badly is because of this ongoing attack on the Trump administration. Number one, do you believe that? And number two, how do you see the Democratic House behaving?
Well, I think this is another one of these big questions to be added to your list, which is that, look, on the one hand, Democrats want to impeach President Trump. They've been itching for it since the day that he was elected. And, I regard that as the wrong way to deal with people you don't like. The right way is just vote them out. And it's going to be hard for them to resist, the way the base has been ginned up. But the Senate was strengthened with the Republican hands. We all know it's not going anywhere. In the absence of something we don't know that's huge, not just a Mueller report that takes all the things we already know and strings it together in a negative fashion, that there's not 67 senators. So all this winds up with the same headline that President Clinton got, which was Clinton acquitted. In this case, Trump acquitted. And so that's going to backfire on the Democrats. So if they're thinking about it, they'll probably hold a bunch of hearings, try to embarrass the president, but they're making better ground on fighting over, the substantive issues, particularly when the president's in a kind of vulnerable position. He doesn't have the trade deal. The Fed is raising interest rates on him. Every one of his executive orders has been stopped by the courts. This is a tricky time right now.
But you have a president who basically has a base, and a base of about 42% that has stayed with him. The wall thing, as I explained, I don't think Mr. Trump is abandoning the wall. I think he's trying to re-strategize to get more support for it. But if you have a Democratic Party that's actively trying to destroy the stock market by floating up every single day Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, every single day to create turbulence around our federal system, which is exactly what's happening. I call it the smear du jour on BillO'Reilly.com. That's going to affect every American. That stock market going down 3,000 points affects every single person. And if Trump doesn't have a robust economy to run on, Democrats know he's going to have a tough time.
No, I think that's right. We're right now in a vicious cycle where the Fed says they're raising interest rates. The political situation is unstable because we don't know if it's all going to be hearings or compromises. And look, I worked for Clinton in the 90s when every day Bill Clinton used to attack Newt Gingrich and Newt Gingrich used to attack him. But at night, they were secretly negotiating. So we don't know if that's really what's going to happen with Pelosi and Schumer, or there's just going to be 2 years of resistance and gridlock, and nothing's going to happen. I don't know the answer to that yet.
I do. The Democrats are going to try to take him out because they know they don't have anybody strong to run in 2020. The strongest candidate they have is Joe Biden, 78 years old. They want to take Trump out because they know there's nobody behind Trump. And that's what they're going to do. You're not having secret negotiations. Now, Trump would like to make a deal. He'll give you the Dreamers in return for the border, or at least some funding for it. I don't think Democrats they may be forced to, but Republicans have to aggressively market it. But it's all about destroying Trump. And in the process, who gets hurt? The American people get hurt. Am I right?
Well, right now there are no winners on the political scene. Both parties are underwater. They actually have lower ratings than Trump. Trump's around 44, 45, which is not enough to get reelected, and is 5 points short. Every institution is below water, except maybe the Supreme Court and the military. And so there are no winners. And if you look at Pelosi has a negative rating nationally, Schumer has a negative rating nationally, McConnell has a negative rating nationally. So no one's got any. That's why this is such a murky situation here. This country's got to come together and get some things done. If it doesn't do that, it's going to drift.
Right. There's no way we shouldn't have immigration reform. The wall is needed. Let the Dreamers have a pathway. Let's get some stuff done here. But it's just crazy. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, you and your family. You've been very kind to us, helping us out. I hope after the Mueller report comes out or the Horowitz report, you'll come back because you're really good at this kind of stuff, and let us know what you think, okay?
Thank you. Have a happy holiday and be a little more optimistic. I think things in America would work out better.
New Year's resolution. I'm going to be a little bit more. If they'd listen to me, Mark, if they would just listen to me, then I could be optimistic. All right. Thanks again. Have a good time. Happy New Year.